Ongeziwe Jaca is a KwaZulu-Natal based author who's just released her brand new book titled Good Girl Gone Bold. Well, this is a self-help motivational book that encourages the reader to defy all the boxes they've been stereotyped into and evolve into the best version of themselves. Ongeziwe Jaca joins us in studio to help us unpack this thrilling offering that she describes as a read that should reach and empower as many women and as men possible. Ongeziwe, good morning. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's so good to have you here. I mean, give us a brief synopsis of what this book is about and what propelled you to write it.
So this book is basically about defining yourself before the world could define you. It's about putting yourself first. It's about figuring out who you are, where you're going, and where you're at. Basically.
Why was it important for you to write this book, and the significance of the title, Good Girl Gone Bold?
The book is mainly based on my story. I was always defined as a good girl, and the more I grew up, the more I realized that it's a title, or rather a box that I didn't want to be put in anymore. And I wanted to be bold, and I didn't want to just be a good girl, but I wanted to be bold and confident in doing so, and being bold on my own terms, being a good girl on my own terms, not based on what's expected of me.
Why was that? How did you get to be the good girl? What was it that you were doing that everybody boxed you into this compartment?
Well, it started from school when I was young. I always did the right thing. I always did what was expected of me, and I always followed rules. I always did what was right. And then later on, I realized that I started asking myself the questions, why was this right though? Why am I doing this? Why do I have to follow this certain path of living? And that's when I was like, man, I need to figure things out, and did my research on my own self. And like, how is it that I can grow without doing what's expected of me by society, but what I'm seeing in my own life?
Now, the book is about choosing yourself over everything. Tell us more about this aspect of the book.
So the book is about choosing yourself over everything, because I believe that as long as I'm good to myself, I can be better to the next person. A lot of people always do things just because it's the right thing to do, or so-and-so expects that from you. But what if you were better to yourself? Wouldn't you be better to the next person? So this is what this is about. The book is about you being the best version of yourself so you can be better to the world.
You know, another thing that you point out in the book is for women to learn how to talk to themselves. Why do you point this out in the book?
Because it's important to sit with yourself and be comfortable with your own self. Get to know yourself first. And then once you know yourself, nobody could ever define you. Be able to talk to yourself, be able to figure things out on your own, be able to learn yourself, so that you don't get out there and you don't know who you are, and now you're facing all these challenges because you're doubting yourself. Be able to speak to yourself, know exactly who you are.
What does this conversation look like with yourself? Where do you even start?
Well, basically you need to find out the things you like. It's very important to know what you like, not what people tell you what you like, what you don't like. Know exactly what it is that you want, and not because people, for example, I mentioned in the book that people may feel like you would be a great model, but you want to be a teacher. That's your passion. You need to be able to have an honest conversation with yourself about what is it that you want, not what looks best on you or what is good on you. Because those are the kind of influences we live with every day.
And you know, the other thing that you also raise in the book is about how you say it's important for women to understand that they're good enough all by themselves.
Yes, definitely.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So the thing is, with us women, we always feel like we need to have some sort of partners or partnerships, or sometimes we're not exactly confident with being on our own. We don't believe in ourselves. We need the next person to tell us that, oh no, Ongeziwe, you can write a book. But what if you just were comfortable with your own self? What if we just spent enough time to love, like we spend so much of time with other people, and people love us, they love your company, oh, you're such a great company, but why don't you ask yourself the question, what is it that people like about me? And start finding it within your own self. Spend time with yourself and figure out why people like you, and so that the whole point is to love yourself. See what people love, and then love that about you. See if you feel that.
Talk to us about this decision to write the book. How did that come about? Say, I'm this good girl, and I don't want to be this girl. I want to be bold, but let me put it in a book.
So the book started, I didn't know it was going to end up being a book. It was during the 21 days lockdown. I was just sitting on my bed and I was thinking about my life, and I was like, I've always been in this box and now I just want to come out of it. So I started the first chapter defining who I am. It was for myself. And then that's when it just flew. When you write, you just... Yeah, and I was like, no, I need to share this with other people, with women, and see what can happen, see if it can change someone else's life. And then I just went from chapter to chapter.
Yeah, and who did you approach after that? Here you have a book, and then where to from? Did you know from then that, okay, this is the direction I took, I take publishers' direction, or?
No, well, after I finished the book, drafting it, I shared it on my WhatsApp group. I created a WhatsApp group with friends and family, like, what do you think of this? And people were like, no, this is great. Why don't you publish it? So I was like, okay. I contacted a publisher, Perfect Love Publications. I sent them an email and I told them, so this is what I've written, and could we publish it? Could we publish the book? And they're like, no, they'll get back to me. And they did, and we started the publishing process. It was really that simple. I just sent an email with the first draft, and they're like, no, we can start the publishing process. Took long, but it happened.
Finally. What's been the response to the book?
Very positive. People who have read the book loved it. It's just that not a lot of people know about it, but those that have really feel like this really has changed their lives.
Where to from here? What do you want to get out of this entire process?
I just want more people to just be comfortable with who they are. I want people to get to know themselves. I want people to fall in love with themselves. I want people to love being alone without feeling lonely. And I hope this book can help me get that.
You know what? I think it will. Ongeziwe, thank you so much for talking to us. Ongeziwe Jaca, she's our Sunday morning guest author, and we've been talking to her about her newly released book titled Good Girl Gone Bold.